Hey, welcome back. So I have a real question for you. Are you a business owner who needs to know what to do in case of a disaster? What are some of the emergency procedures you better learn? Well, I can help you answer some of those today because I have two amazing guests. My name is Dacquino. Our guests are from Servpro. Welcome, Stephanie. Tell us who you are and what you do. Tell us who you are and what you do. What is Servpro?
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Bellofatto, and I am the Director for Commercial and Residential Accounts for Servpro of Putnam County. Here with us today is the owner, Lisa Smith.
I'm the owner of Dutchess County, Northwest Southeast Dutchess County, and Putnam County Servpros.
And what exactly do you do? I know that in the cases of a fire or mold or a flood, that's when you guys come into action. So what is coming into action and what does that mean?
We have certified trained technicians, crew chiefs, production managers that are all out in the field, ready to go 24/7 because no one knows when a disaster is going to happen. So our first responders head out and assess the situation of what's going on.
So is this an insurance company?
No.
What do you do that insurance companies don't? I mean, the idea is that you go in to help them prevent further disaster? Is that, or?
One of the programs that we offer is an emergency ready profile, which Stephanie will talk about, that does help prevent further damages by just knowing what to do as disasters strike or before a disaster strikes, knowing what your building is and how to shut things off.
So you educate them, to make sure that they're aware. I know one of the things you mentioned is, you better know where your gas shutoff is and you better know where your water shutoff is, because if not, you're going to increase the damage and end up with a total loss.
Yeah, we really try to educate business owners. Listen, we go to the doctor every year for a physical to make sure that we're physically healthy. And we change the tires, rotate them in our car, check the brakes, and change the oil to keep ourselves and our families safe in the vehicle. We live in a county where we're surrounded by a lot of business owners. And that likely is their largest asset, is their business.
Yeah.
So I provide a free service to them by going in and providing them an emergency ready profile. We want to keep their biggest asset safe. Not just for them, for their family and for their future.
Yeah, I know when I was teaching school, one of the things that we used to do is teach children what happens in case of a fire. So we make sure that there's some kind of a rope ladder or actually fire drills at home so that you know what you need to do in case of an emergency. So that's pretty much what you do as well?
Yes. Well, what I do is I go in and I speak with the business owner. I ask them questions like, how old is the structure? It's very important to know that.
Is it all wood?
Well, no, when it was built.
Yeah, okay.
So when it was built plays an intricate role in how quickly we get to go in and mitigate something. If it's prior to 1980, then oftentimes we need to go in and do asbestos testing before touching anything.
Yeah.
And lead testing.
And lead.
And lead.
So to have information available to you prior to a disaster happening, of course, the goal is to minimize the size of a disaster. So by me going into your office and saying to you, look, Vin, do you know where your gas shutoff is in your business? And do you know where the water shutoff is? I'm going to tag those things with orange and white tags so your staff, everyone in your building, knows where they are located. I take information from you like, who is your electric company? Who is the gas company? Who's your IT company? Who's your alarm company? We provide your non-emergency numbers for your closest police department, fire department, and the closest hospital to you. By providing this service to our community, the likelihood
Wiping out a business.
is so minimized.
Yeah.
Up to 50% of businesses that suffer a large loss never recover.
Wow.
We don't want to see that in our community. Not only do we work here, I live here. I was born and raised here. Lisa was also born and raised here. So we want to protect our community the best we can.
Yeah.
And by providing this service to our business owners, and when I do go into a business and speak to a business owner, I am also asking, do you know where these things are at home?
Yeah.
And if you
make me
know,
worry about.
do you know,
things I
does
don't.
everyone in your family know where they are? It's important, not just, if you have teenagers, your spouse, your significant other, everyone should know where those things are. And when I speak to business owners, I tell them to please, when you're educating your staff and training new staff, and of course you're showing them where all the emergency exits are and such, correct? So show them, this is where the water shutoff is, this is where the gas shutoff is. There are things that we can do to help prevent a larger loss. We're here to help.
Yeah. Now, mold is also something that you deal with. Is that true?
Mold is something that we deal with. Here in New York State, it's very prevalent. I don't want to scare the consumers because that's been the way it's been in the news that, mold, and we're all going to be harmed in significant ways.
But you need to be aware of it.
You need to be aware of it.
You can't, just because it might be something that's scary, doesn't mean you ignore it.
Exactly. It shouldn't be ignored.
Yep.
And what people don't realize is, everybody's worried about black mold, black mold, black mold. Well, mold comes in various colors: orange, yellow, green,
and
brown.
they can be harmful.
And they can all be harmful, or they cannot be harmful.
Yeah.
Some black mold is not harmful, and everybody just thinks that the black mold is the one that's most harmful.
Right.
We can't identify what type of mold it is. In New York State, there is licenses that have to be in place: licensed mold assessor or a licensed hygienist mold assessor. They go in and they can provide tests, either air tests or sample tests, to identify the exact type of mold it is and the amount of mold spores that are actually in the room or the home or the basement or wherever.
So the
it
bottom
may be a
line
concern.
is be educated.
Be educated. Be educated. Don't be afraid. Mold is everywhere. There's safe levels of mold, and there's unsafe levels of mold.
Right.
It's the unsafe levels that we need to be worried about.
Right. Wow. All right. So now businesses seek you out, or you seek businesses out?
I have been introducing myself to the local businesses in our area here in Putnam since November of 2018. I haven't quite reached every business yet. There's several of them.
And they're growing.
And, here's the thing. So here would be a prime example, Vin, for you. I really stress upon restaurant owners. This is such a great tool for them to have. I've done several restaurants in our area. If a restaurant suffers a loss and their doors have to close for
Community suffers a loss.
everyone suffers. And not only that, they could lose their consumer. They can lose their customer base. People will find someplace else to go eat. You don't want to lose that customer. I don't want you to lose that customer. You've worked hard for your customers.
I don't know if you're the person to address this, but I noticed that recently in Putnam County, a lot of gas lines have been put in. There's new gas lines.
We're not the people to address.
You're not the
Yes.
people. So does that affect, I just wonder if that affects the number of businesses that would be affected. I mean, now there's more gas lines. Does that mean there's more concerns for you? More people that have to be educated.
Gas is only our concern if there's an actual explosion. We come in and we do the cleanup. So basically, what we
So
do
you-
besides educate, we are the cleanup company. We come in behind any type of natural disaster,
All right,
whether
so
it be
you're not
water,
really prevention.
fire.
You're more
We're cleanup.
You're cleanup.
We're cleanup.
Okay,
So
that's very important distinction.
absolutely.
You come in after it happens, but you educate them about how not to make it worse.
We want to make sure that it's as minimal as it can be. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to come home and have, 2 feet
Yeah.
of water in their basement.
So while your concern is cleanup, it's a good idea to tell them that you're going to have a lot less cleanup if they know what to do
Beforehand.
beforehand.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
We want to just educate and let the community know we're not only here to educate, but we're also here if you do
prevent.
have that disaster, we're here to help.
Minimize.
We're here to make it like it never even happened.
I always say to people, I'm the person that you don't want to know until you need to know
Yeah.
me.
No, I hear
Because
you.
nobody wants a disaster. Nobody wants a fire. Nobody wants water damage, whether it be commercial or residential. Nobody wants to know that they have mold in their home and it needs to be mitigated. Nobody wants to know that. We all like to think we live in this perfect world where nothing's going to go wrong. But being in this business, I know that that's far from the truth. We live in a world where there is natural disasters and there's,
So that's
accidents
interesting. Usually it's the other way around. A lot of the main interest is not to have something happen. But in your case, it's to investigate something that happened and assure them that it didn't have to be as bad as it is. Could have been better if you were aware of this and this and this.
Most of the time when we arrive on site, most people didn't know that we are even a company that exists. Most people don't know that there's mitigation companies
Now
out
you're
there.
going to have a sort of a business expo coming up.
We're sponsoring a continuing education class for realtors. It's a 3-credit class to them, as well as a continental breakfast. We're holding that on September 16th from 9 to 12 at the Doubletree in Tarrytown. It is a free class to them.
What is it educating them on?
It will be educating them on mold. It's a mold education class.
And this is so that realtors can be aware of the buildings that they're selling
And or purchasing,
Yeah.
depending on which side, whether they're for the buyer or the seller.
right, and things to look for.
Yes. Yes.
Makes sense.
And there are new rules and new laws for, to my understanding, they have to have so many credits per year or,
Realtors?
or every
Yes.
2?
Every 2.
Every 2. So some
Which
of
just
this
helps with their
information,
education.
Yeah.
right, and there's new information that the instructor will be providing
I mean,
to
and
them.
that's a good thing. I mean, I would want my realtor to know the signs that make me say, don't go there.
It's actually done by a home inspector.
Yeah, that's really the home inspector's job.
Yeah.
But it's good to be educated on what
Yeah,
you're
I
walking
mean, it's
into.
good,
and then for the
I would
safety
want
of the
a
realtor
realtor
themselves.
to say, look, we're going to have to inspect the house, but I'm telling you right now, this doesn't look good. And, and there are some things that you can, see. And even in my own home, I want to be able to look in my own home and say, hey, here's something that I should rectify right away.
Correct, absolutely. People have this misconception oftentimes, as I have been around the county, I've had people say to me, oh, well, Stephanie, I had mold and I threw some bleach on it and it's gone. No, it isn't. You just bleached the mold. And not only did you bleach the mold, you disturbed the mold, therefore it has the ability to go airborne. Spores can attach themselves.
Also, what people don't understand with mold is mold can die, become dormant. It's also an allergen to people that are allergic to mold if it's there and it's dead. It needs to be removed either by HEPA products or negative air products, scrubbing the air, scrubbing the material, removing the material that may be affected if it's an organic food source for mold. People don't want to hear I have to come in and take the sheetrock out of the basement, but it may be the necessary steps. In New York State, we follow behind what the licensed assessors or hygienists put together a protocol which is basically directions on what type of mold it is, how much mold is in the property, what materials need to be removed. We're licensed contractors and supervisors that come in and do the cleanup. We don't tell you what type of mold you have. We don't put the scope of work together. That's done by an assessor. We follow a scope of work, and the property is then tested after we're completed to make sure that it's a level of safe mold in the home, because you cannot get rid of mold. It is physically impossible. It's everywhere.
So you need a pro.
You do need a pro. If it's bad.
Yeah, and it's not always bad.
It's not always bad. Under 10 square feet of mold in the home is not going to harm anybody unless they're already a suppressed immune system. It's more susceptible to elderly and children and those that are suppressed immune system to begin with, or if they have allergies, asthma.
Now, the latest thing that we've been hearing is radon. Now, do you work with radon at all?
We do not work with radon, but what I can tell you is that a house breathes from the ground up. So, with radon, what's going on is it's breathing from the ground up. What people need to understand too with mold and mildew and the smell that they're smelling, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't need to worry about it. It's downstairs in my basement and I'm upstairs. Well, a house breathes from the ground up. So,
So
although
if
it's
you're smelling
downstairs, if you smell it downstairs,
it is affecting you upstairs.
It is affecting you upstairs. So just something
All right,
to keep in
we're
mind.
going to switch gears here.
Okay.
And my big question for you, Lisa, is how did you get into all of this?
It was a slow process. When I was young, my father was a contractor. I followed behind him at all the houses that he went to. I walked on stilts, I walked on scaffolding, I climbed on ladders, and always found the construction of buildings very interesting, the architecture of buildings extremely interesting. So as I grew, I just furthered myself with that career. I was a licensed real estate broker for 25 years, found the architecture in homes just completely amazing. As we went through storms here in our local area, we had Sandy and Irene back to back.
And we had some dillies.
200-year storms. Well,
Wow.
my husband is a contractor as well, trained by my father, so we were called in to help all of the remediation companies in the area clean up after Sandy.
Wow.
Basically, with Irene and Sandy, it was all hands on deck. Anybody that could go in and help people out.
Irene and Sandy
what,
must have been,
it was
man, that was your
devastating.
heyday.
It wasn't my heyday.
But it was a heyday
It was
for this
devastating.
field.
It was
Yeah,
absolutely a
because lot of
devastating
people
event
just
locally.
lost everything.
And now on a local level, we felt it here. That happens all over the place. Servpro
Yep.
is everywhere. We're franchised.
Oh, is that
there's
right?
1,800 franchises located all over the United States.
Oh, so it isn't just a local business.
It is not a local business. We're all independently owned and operated.
Oh, wow.
So we're a
So
family-run
what area
business.
do you represent?
I represent Putnam County, and my name up in Dutchess County is Northwest Southeast Dutchess County.
Oh.
So
So that's interesting.
That's how
so
I got into
Servpro
the
is not
business.
just. I myself thought it was just a small company here in Mapac that.
nope, there's green trucks all over.
You'll
We're
see our
actually
trucks.
in Canada
Wow.
too. So.
Interesting.
And that's a nice thing, because when we do have natural disasters to that effect, it's not just a local
Yeah.
little Servpro.
And you have things to fall back on. You can have people you can ask questions.
That's right, and we can call other
I can call
Servpros in.
other Servpros in to help. When
Wow.
Sandy and Irene happened here, it wasn't just your local Servpro that you saw. It was, I'm sure, Servpro from Florida and California and Idaho, and
Wow.
we all come together, and we do what needs to be done in the community
That's
to
good
make sure.
information. Stephanie,
Yes.
who are you? How'd you get into this?
Well, actually, Lisa and I grew up together
Ah.
in Mayapack, and we raised our children together. I also come from, my family are all operating engineers in the city.
Wow.
So again, another contracting kind of business. And we like to both, we're very passionate about helping people. When these kinds of things happen, it can devastate somebody.
Yeah.
They don't know what the next steps are.
No, you put your whole life into this business. You've
Or
got
your
it all
home.
set. It's raising your family or your home. You're children are putting their trust in you to make sure that they stay safe. That's your obligation. And you can help those people meet that obligation. Makes sense.
You know, it's important. Look, I have suffered a loss at my own home.
Really?
And I'm fortunate. I work for I now work for the company. Then I did not. I work for the company now. But because of my relationship with Lisa, I knew, hey, I could just call Servpro, and they were at my house within an hour, and I had inches of water just flowing. Water is so dangerous, so much more than people understand.
Yeah.
You know, it will get into every crack and crevice, but you know, they came in and they set up equipment properly. You know, it's very important. People often will think that, you know, oh, so they had some water in their basement and they used their shop vac and set up a fan. There's a proper way to set equipment for it to dry properly. It might look dry to the naked eye, but if
It's the water you don't see.
Right. It's truly the water you don't see that's the most dangerous. So, you know, I get it as a homeowner myself. You know, you try to do what you can do for yourself, right?
Yep.
But, you know, certain things you have to leave to the
Yeah,
professionals.
it's one thing to get the things you want, it's another thing to preserve them.
Correct.
Yeah, makes sense. And then, I mean, unfortunately, with your company, damage is already done. But if we can just eliminate some of the possible damage that could have happened.
Well, here's the thing. Listen, nobody ever wants to see us. And quite frankly, we don't want to have to come to your home. We know how devastating it is, right?
Yeah.
But if you have someone that you know and you trust that can walk you through the process to make this a little easier, look, it's not an easy process. But if you have someone that can give you, explain step by step what's going to happen, what are the next steps that we take, that brings people a little bit more comfort. And if you can show some empathy to people when, you know, Lisa has gone to several fires, I'm sure she can give an example of one where people are just devastated, and how to console those people and try to get them to the next
Okay,
step.
you're on.
Fire is probably one of the hardest things that anybody is ever going to have to go through. You have no control over what happens in the home. It's extremely sad. You walk in and you can look at your items, things that you've collected, heirlooms from your, you know, parents, grandparents, great-great-grandparents, and you can sometimes still see these items. Sometimes they're destroyed and unrecognizable, but sometimes you see them and you have no idea. Can I take this? Is it safe? Is it restorable? Is it not restorable? That's a lot of what our company does.
Oh.
We come in and we can identify what is restorable, what is not restorable, what is the most important thing in this house is what I usually ask when I first walk in.
What are the things you
If there was
just
one
can't
thing
bear
in
to
this
lose?
house that you can't bear to lose, you know, it came from great-great-great-grandma and it's irreplaceable, or, you know, it was my son's baby blanket and my son's no longer here, or, you know, what is it that I can do to make this process a little better? I always tell people with the structure, it's sad, it's a structure, it's replaceable. Some of the things in the home are not replaceable.
Yeah.
We may be able to restore those.
So do you work with the actual restoral?
Yes, we restore
Oh.
contents beyond just homes. We do contents, we do content cleaning, we do dry cleaning, we do furniture repair.
Wow.
So there's a lot of electronics cleaning. A lot of people don't realize that electronics
Yeah.
can be cleaned
Some
after
of them
water or
just
fire.
kind of write it off
Yep.
as gone.
Books, there's some, you know, first edition books that are out there that can be restored. You know,
Yeah.
they go through water damage or fire damage. They absolutely can be restored.
In my case, as a writer, manuscripts.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Documents
you
can
don't
be
wanna lose.
restored.
And research material.
Can all be restored as long as it's
Yeah. Not
still
destroyed.
there.
Right, as long
Still
as
there.
it's still there.
Yep.
You know, we do more than just fire, water, and mold cleanup. We do vandalism cleanup. We do biohazard cleanup. We do crime scene cleanup.
Really?
Yes. We do hoard cleanup. We also, for people that might be selling their homes and a realtor suggests to you painting or how to spruce up the home, we can offer deep cleaning and deodorizing for homes.
Wow.
You know, there are many things that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, that can often make a major difference between getting $200,000 for your house or $300,000 for your house.
Well, they say clean homes sell faster, so
Yeah.
even if it's just a faster sell that you're not paying taxes for another year, you're
Yeah,
not,
and sometimes that makes up for the money that it would cost to do it right.
or wait.
Yeah. Well, I have some bad news for you. You have 2 minutes left. What do you want to say to this audience in the final 2 minutes of this show?
I just want to say that if you're a business owner and I can help you keep your business safe, please reach out to us. You can call our office at 845-228-1090. I'm happy to give any local business a free emergency ready profile. And when I mean free, it is truly free. With that profile, I also provide a free app for your phone. So no matter where you are, you have the ability to see that profile. If your building goes ablaze, let's hope that never happens. But there are instances where, you know, a fire breaks out and where are all
You're
those
always-
documents?
You're always going to have your phone.
You
Yeah.
need to know where you need to know who's your insurance company.
Things you cannot afford to lose.
If I ask a business owner who's their insurance company, more often than not, they can tell me who their agent is, but they can't tell me who actually is their insurance company.
Wow.
So by providing this profile, that information is there. The claim number, if they need, is there for them
Policy number.
and their policy number.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here's what I got out of this. Servpro can help educate you, and you need to be educated. It's not only what you want, it's protecting what you already have that's important. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for helping us be a little more aware of some of the things we should be aware of.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being part of One-on-One with Lisa and Stephanie and Servpro. Thank you for being here. Great.